Not only was it influential to the future of skating culture, the Tony Hawk series would serve as arguably the ultimate time capsule of both 90s and skating culture of the time. Its slick, accessible gameplay is topped with a killer soundtrack, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater likely inspired thousands of kids to give skateboarding a try. And while their success would vary, the one thing they could agree on is that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater kicked ass, and its sequel would become the all-time fan favorite. But would a remaster of these games succeed 20 years after their initial launch, and after the bitter decline of the series in more recent years?
This pizza's bringing me back to my days in New York. Broadway, the Garden, that New York street corner pizza. The slices were so big you have to fold them. And they were dripping with cheese and the sauce and the thing.
Steve, you're only 15. You've never left Wisconsin.
While my first experience of the Tony Hawk series may have been on the Pizza Hut demo disc, my most recent experience prior to this game was the Robo Motos Pro Skater HD that was released in 2012. And let me tell you this game is a breath of fresh air. Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD feels much closer to the original, and while not exactly the same, I think the overall changes they've made actually make it better. The career mode is pretty cool, and you have the option to create a custom skater. Stat increases are independent from skater to skater, adding to the grinding elements. However, the tasks are far clearer, with the addition of an objective camera I believe was initially added in either Tony Hawk 3 or 4. There are also tons of cosmetics you can unlock by completing missions and non-mission tasks, as well as spending in-game money you have earned. There's also been an overall amp in difficulty. I think it's an intentional addition, encouraging you to experiment with different types of skaters rather than just playing as Tony. The skating still feels great, but there's been clear changes to the gravity, which makes it more weighty than the lunar gravity of the 2012 HD game, and marginally more weighty than the original. This means that certain parks and objectives are better suited to different skaters. For example, I had trouble gaining adequate speed for certain gaps, particularly after grinds, as vert specialist Tony Hawk, whereas a street skater will likely have no issue out of the box. These problems can be overcome by spending earned stat points, or just gather more experience than I'm willing to input. Combos are easier to string together, but landing direction and grinding timing makes the overall handling precision a little bit more difficult, but more rewarding overall. Everything feels like it's designed to make you a better player, even if it is frustrating at times. Aesthetics has also taken a huge leap. While not cutting edge, this game is beautiful. Comparing it to the Robo-Moto game isn't even fair, and that game is ugly compared to the rather charming potato graphics of the PlayStation 1 in my opinion. Maps are updated with minor changes, but are generally authentic recreations of the original, with quality of life improvements. The art of the cosmetics are also fairly good, and feature real brands if that's your thing. The music is... it's so good. There is a tasteful selection of classics from the original, as well as new tracks that all fit the theme. I know they're going to at least give me some sort of notice, but almost every song I've heard in this game is a legit banger. Here, take a listen to a few of them. So what about the skating sounds? Well, the skating sounds are also pretty solid. However, they did replace some like pain and ouch sounds with a VHS rewind. There's also been significant improvements to accessibility too. This includes almost complete controller remapping, mods that remove the need to balance when grinding, performing manuals, or performing lip tricks. There are also settings to stop you from bailing, as well as always having special on. All these are great if you struggle to handle the controls, or you just want to go for the craziest combo you can. Unfortunately, there is no in-game way to change the language, which may make navigating the fairly extensive settings options or the other menus difficult. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD is also fairly convenient. It's available on Xbox One, Series, PlayStation 4, 5, Switch, and it's also available digitally on Steam and the Epic Games Store. The settings are extensive and should provide enough options to allow most people to play it, as well as allowing music to be muted for streamers. I also failed to see any bugs and had no other real issues with the game. I think that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD is the definitive game in the series, and likely the best skateboarding game since EA's Skate series. It feels great to play and has a ton to do, as well as a ton of cosmetics to unlock. The soundtrack is killer, and I think it would have been more successful if it hadn't been for the Epic Store's limited exclusivity deal. While I think they should have provided more in-game menu languages, this is one fault that isn't enough to prevent it from being a must-play. These games are as good as they were 20 years ago, but now they have modern quality of life improvements and beautiful visuals. But let me know what you think in the comments below, and consider checking out my Saints Row the Third Remastered review or one of my other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.